change in people's eating habits, which have been happening over the last 18 months, I've been noticing. And keeping that in mind, our focus now is definitely shifting to the value concepts. When I say value, it doesn't have to be cheap or low cost. It would be perceived value for the product for that segment of the market. But I see a huge growth in brands which are going to focus on value in whichever segment they are catering to. By and large, the industry is growing because a larger amount of people, with urbanization happening, is obviously there is going to be a large amount of people eating out, people's eating habits are changing. But the biggest change will happen in the tier 2 cities also, with the aspirational value and the lifestyle change which is happening with more offerings available to the consumer has been a huge eye-opener for all of us. In fact, some of the brands have already moved into those areas. And now the local brands, the homegrown brands, are also moving into those cities and expanding their brands. Like we are doing that as our growth now. We are a multi-brand company. We deal in from international brands to local homegrown brands to regional brands. We're doing a number of products. So for us, it is an interesting challenge. We have different verticals, and each of these verticals is expanding in its own way. And but the focus will be on whatever we do in the next 3 years' time would be on value. Even a brand like our parent brand, flagship brand, Copper Chimney. We're now expanding the brand across the country, and we are looking at giving value for money in that concept. So Indian food is and will always be the primary food in our country, and with more and more international brands coming in, I see a strong focus by the consumer also to evaluate and look at Indian, which is available in a consistent way across the country. So if you are able to focus on that segment, create consistency, which is key in the eyes of the consumer, and establish confidence for a brand which can give not too high end. It is located for the average family or for the office goer or the professional. I think there's a huge market for us in that segment. See, we are constantly tweaking our menu. We always have our hero items, as we say, which are our highest grossers. But always we need to adapt in our country, especially in the Indian cuisine, which I was touching on earlier. We have to cater to the local need to a certain level. So it's not that we change our dish completely, but we tweak the taste slightly to cater to that area. It can't be like a fast food item because this is a curry item or a kebab. So we are always adapting it to the local food. And by doing that, we automatically deal with, and we are able to provide the entire experience to the consumer in that area. It depends on the brand. For example, if I have an Italian brand of mine, Spaghetti Kitchen, I would be consistent across the country because it's a date you adopt yourself to or you get used to. But in Indian cuisine, because we all ultimately know and understand Indian cuisine, so it is very important to tweak that food slightly in certain items. It's not that I mean to tweak your menu across everything, because consistency is the meaning of the brand, because otherwise consumers who travel across the length and breadth of the country would find a variation. But the tweaking is very marginally. It will only be noticed and appreciated by the consumer in that local area. And that too, if a particular customer asks for a variation, it's always done, because almost everything in Indian cuisine is made on the pan, freshly made at the pan. So there's always a possibility to tweak it to deal with the requirements of the customer there.